Okay, so got a new laptop, upgraded Wi-Fi. So I just wanted to do a quick stream tonight to test the connection, see if it's any better streaming live. It's kind of an impromptu jumping on, so we'll see if anybody joins in chat. If you're on YouTube watching the recording, you might want to just skip through. I'm not even sure I'll do any art tonight. I just wanted to get on and check the new settings. So I'm just going to kind of hang out and wait till some of my chatters get in line here and join in. And hello, I'm your hero. Oh, I'm glad to be someone's hero. Hey, Carrie Ann. So this is a test. Hey, Linda. This is a test. I got a new laptop, and we had our Verizon Wi-Fi upgraded today. So I was dying to come on and just to check to see how it looks, if you're going to get any, what do you call it, buffering or an interrupted signal or any of that bad stuff. The camera looks good. It should be screaming fast now. You don't do good on tests? Oh my God, I'm just hoping I pass. Let me pass this one, please. Oh my gosh. It's been so frustrating streaming. Just like in the last several weeks, it seems like it's just gone to hell in a handbasket. But so I didn't know if it was something going on with me, something going on with YouTube, because I saw it happen on other people's channels. So I don't know if they upgraded something that, caused older setups not to work as well. I don't know. I do not know. But anyway, so how do I look? I'm not getting the error that I got before about an unstable connection. Can you guys hear me and see me? Everything look clear? My old splotched up. Does it focus? Coming clear? Yes. Looking good. Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. Well, I don't have much to do. I'll just show you guys stuff, just to take up some time and let this camera focus on different things. And if you follow me, you've probably already seen these. I'm Robin McClendon crazy. Can't stop watching her and following her, which she does just really, really speaks to me. Is this camera crooked? Hang on a second. I'm going to move it. Hold on to your lunch. There we go. Not too bad. Card chick. Hello. Share my heart out. I'm testing a new setup. So I'm just trying to kill time and be on here long enough to see if anything goes kablooey on here. But I've been following Robin McClendon, and like I've started to say, if you guys follow me on social media, you probably see where I've shared some of these collages. And I really am pleased with how they came out. Now, Gayla mentioned something to me about I should have framed them and made a little set. But anyway, a little grouping for the wall or something. But anyway, I just want to see, not to bore you to death with the same thing. I want to see how the camera looks, if it's going to focus. That's focusing pretty good. Yeah. These papers, I made these several years ago, and you'll see one in just about every one of these, I think. I made them on some kind of rosin paper. It's heavy. It's kind of reddish pink color. You get it at the hardware kind of store. I don't even know what they use it for, but it's real heavy. And I took my pictograph stencil and I think I used matte medium over the stencil and then let that image dry. And then I put, what are they called? Swelligant, I think is what I used. It's Christy Friesen. She has a line of products, and they are for they're metal paints, and then you buy the patina acids and put over them, and then they do this kind of crazy stuff. Where this is copper with the I think it's called Tiffany green acid over it, and it patinas and makes it look like copper aged like overnight while you're looking. Actually, it happens quicker than that. But that's what these papers are when you see that stuff in here. This one doesn't have any on there. But this green paper in the background, this is this roll of that Green Painters masking paper. You can get it at the hardware store for a few bucks. I really like that. But I learned something, and you can see here where it's smeared. That's my rose gold watercolor. And see where it's smeared a little bit on there. So even though this watercolor on watercolor paper won't smear, it smears on this. So it's got to have something to do with the paper. But I went back and where is it? Is this it? Yeah. I did another sheet of the scripting on it with the rose gold. And then I sprayed it with Kmart varnish. And it kept the sheen. It changed a little bit of the texture. It's got a little bit of a pucker to it. You can almost see that in the shadows. Dot, what are you doing up this late? Oh, you did get it? Yeah, I got that bigger green one. I love that color green. I'm not a big green fan, but I love that color green. But I got that one, and I got this smaller brown one. This one I think is 9 inches. I think that was 12. But I really like both of them. They're really cheap, and they really work well. I never even knew about them. But anyway, I sprayed this with Kmart varnish. You can hear how much crunchier the paper got, which I love. But now it's fixed. It doesn't come off of there. So that did work doing that, just in case anybody needs to know that. But that was the background of this one. I did a little scripting here. This was a piece of black handmade paper with gold embellishments on it that I just cut circles out of. And this was another piece of that acid aged paper here and here that I had in my stash. And this, let me show you what this is. I got them from Lowe's, but I think Home Depot have them too. These craft notes. I was looking for onion skin paper on the web, and it's hard to find the real onion skin stuff anymore. Hey, Brady. It's, it's vintage if you can find it. I guess they don't make it anymore because nobody's typing anymore on a typewriter. Not much anyway. Anyway, there was an Etsy shop I found that said they had onion skin, and it looked just like, I forgot I had these until I saw the paper. See those lines in there? And they were calling this onion skin and selling it in pads. And it's kind of crunchy like that, but it's, I don't know, more of a deli feel to me. I don't know what the heck it is. It just says made with recycled paper, ultra thin pages. I don't know. That's what it's. Well, I can tell you the camera's focusing quicker and lasting longer. Thank you, Jesus. That was driving me crazy. Hey, Jean. I'm testing my new setup tonight. But let me pull out what I did with some of those. Just messing around with trying to make little bits to go in, collage, fodder kind of stuff. I took some out. I took a big brush. Where's that? I think it's over at the sink. It's a big Sumi brush. And made these big strokes on them. And I tried to do a little scripting with it. Yeah, Jean, I got a new MacBook Pro. Just a 13-inch one. What an ordeal that was last week. Oh my gosh, with my old one, it was a mess. But anyway, so I just made little bits like that. And then I added the bronze, the Golden's bronze iridescent fine. Just when I say you're focusing better. I know I don't have the whole background blocked out, but anyway, on my little jelly plate, like Robin has demoed, you got to check out her YouTube channel if you haven't yet. It's awesome. But I just made all these little different things to have to grab hunks of to work in collages. And that's what you're seeing here. Oops. Oh, what did you get that? So see, there's a little hunk of that, like a square of that cut out there. And you can see the bronze when it hits the right angle of the light for the metallics. So that's that one. And that's 2 pieces of of this green paper. And I just left it white in between and added some scripting. And this one is another piece of that paper with a different acid wash on there so that it rusted. It's got the Tiffany green under it, but then it rusted. I just scripted a little here in gold watercolor and here with the marker. And here's another little piece of that craft paper stuff. Dylan's from Patty with Windows 10. Good for you, Dot. And here I took a little piece of gold leaf on the carrier sheets. And I took a 1/4 inch thin. Hey, there's my mod extraordinaire. Finally got logged in. Oh my gosh. They're saying I'm looking and sounding okay so far, Gayla. So I'm hoping the upgrade helped everything. I was about ready to pitch it out the window. But there's a lot of different things in here. Like this little piece down here with the circles, that's my rubber stamp on there. It was a piece of paper like this, newsprint, where I rolled off as I was jelly printing. And it got to be thick layers of paint, and it was a cool color. So I flipped her over and put some inch-wide double-sided tape down it and cut it and made washi tape out of it. Hey Sharon, oh, it's your name. I thought you meant you had an iffy connection. Oh no, say it isn't so. But there's a lot of different little pieces on here. This is my chop that I had made, stamped on there. It was kind of hard because this German book text is, it's kind of rough textured. But this was a piece of brown handmade paper with rectangles all over it. I just ripped off. This is a piece of handmade paper, the black and white circle. This is just a bronze iridescent painted on there. But I made this little strip of this tape out of the leaf, which I thought came out really cool. So that's that one. And this one, I'm so mad at myself that I didn't print more of these. So I took a piece of this, the bigger sheet of this with the pictographs on it in this color, right? And I have a new printer down here, and I ran it through the printer on onion skin. Was it onion skin? Yeah, I think it was onion skin. And it came out like this. And I thought, what the heck's wrong with it? And I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, that's really cool. Well, the toner was low. So I changed the toner and then it printed out correctly. And I thought, after I used this, I thought, daggone it, I wish I would have printed out more. It was a bigger piece and it had 2 pieces of this type paper on it. So I got a little version of that. But next time my printer runs low, that's what I'm going to do. But you can see, and this is on, what is that? That's, it's not onion skin. It's, oh, what the heck is it? It's really thin. It's not Tomoe River. It is, I'll think of it. But anyway, it's really thin. And here's another piece of that craft paper behind it with another little part of the circle showing out there. It's hard to get the shiny part on there. And this was a jelly print that I just ripped a little piece off. It's on tissue paper. and just did some scripting down there in my pictograph stamp. And this one I did last night or the night before. I don't remember. No, it's not mulberry paper. It was, daggone it. I don't remember what I put it on. Hang on. Let me get the other piece of that out. Maybe I can feel that and it'll remind me. Maybe. Maybe not. See, here's the other side of it. Oh, you know what? It is onion skin. Here's the other piece of the copy that came out. Look how cool that looks, though. You know, I love me some purple and turquoise. But, yeah, so I'm sad that I didn't run a couple more pieces through there. But this onion skin, real onion skin, is really hard to find. And I did score about 300. It was probably more than 300 sheets. It was not quite a ream on eBay. Do you attach regular copy paper to the onion skin or just the onion skin? I'll put just the onion skin runs through it. Is that your tracing paper? No. No, that wasn't the tracing paper. It feels similar though, Gayla. So this one I did last night or the night before. This was some early scripting I did with a bigger brush, and I took a copy of it because I thought, it's not what it looks like now, but it came out kind of cool. And this background was this sheet where I did it on rice paper with that gold Sumi ink. I cut a hunk of this up, put that on the background. This was part of a jelly print with pictograph stuff on it. This is a piece of paper I just bought over the Queen's ink. It was a big sheet of handmade paper. This is a piece of washi tape. I thought it needed more black than just here and just little spots here. This was a handmade paper. And this was my rubber stamp. And it didn't stamp very good. I had to go back with a paintbrush and paint over it because it's rough. It's thick there. It's rough. It's hard to get a good impression. So, yeah. So that's all I've done in this little journal so far. But I really like those. Gayla, your ideas got me thinking. Hey, Amalia. Hey, Kathy. Where you to attach your ooh-hoo. Ooh-hoo, grow stick. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. Oh, so I made some more. I'll show you some more papers that I made. Just trying to kill time now. See if I crash at all or have an unstable signal. So far, I think it's been good. Can I use India ink on a jelly plate? Oh, yeah, Carrie, you can. Now, one little tip, and I learned this from Robin, and you can see her do this on her YouTube channel. I've been taking her Teachables class, and I follow her on Patreon as well. Stalker. But, oh, great, Amalia. Thank you. Hey, Kathy. Hello. Testing out my new setup here. So far, so good. So, yeah, she shows how she does her scripting on the jelly plate. But what you have to do, because it'll just bead up on a jelly plate. So she puts a thin layer of paint down first, or transparent, like these craft paints here that are metallics, or even the little color shift paints. Puts a real thin layer of that down, lets it dry, and then does scripting on top of that. And mine beat it up a little bit. I have prints somewhere that I don't know. Let me pull all of these out. I think it was in this last batch that I did the other night. Let's see where we are. So this, I just had extra bronze. This is that piece of, this was tracing paper, Gayla. This one was. That I did that brush stroke with the bigger brush when I first started. And I thought, it's kind of cool. So I copied it, and I've been cutting it up using that little pieces. And I had some extra paint left on this little jelly plate, and I just plopped it down there because how can that hurt? But that's all that is. This is a piece of deli. I carved a couple stamps. This one prints like this, right? Because the letters are carved out. And of course, it's backwards from how I wrote it, but whatever. It's scripting. It's not really, a language anyway. So this one prints like this. No comments, Gayla. Don't know how that happened. And then this one, this is when I first cut it, and then I trimmed more out of it, and it came in a little clearer. And here I was just cleaning it off. But that one is where I left the letters raised. So it'll be kind of like a reverse image, although the scripting is different on each. I know. I hear you. I'm reading between the lines. This was an experimental piece of paper. So it's got all kind of crap on here. But this turquoise crap and this rose gold crap are these things that I never saw them before, that I found at Hobby Lobby when I went over. Gail, you know that paint you were having me do those wet prints with that I was screwing up? Ugh. They have the bigger jars of that paint over at Hobby Lobby, Xander was telling me. So I beat feet over there to get the black flash one. That's the only one I got in the big jar. But while I was back there, I found a few other colors that I thought were kind of interesting, like this pewter. It's kind of like a Payne's grayish kind of color, and some other ones, but more of a neutral palette, because you know what, I usually like my bright, crazy stuff. But I found these Tattered Angels Color Wash Tints. One-stepped water-based tint for natural surfaces. This one's called Weathered Copper, and this one's Rose Gold. Camera. And they're metallics. You can see the copper one, right? It's like a teal paint, and it's got that bronze coppery shimmer in it. And this is a neutral with the rose gold in it. So I just painted them, and it says on here, ideal for wood and wicker and non-coated surfaces. So I, of course, didn't do that. I took my paintbrush and tried to whip them on here. So ignore all this. This was scripting, but it was weird how it came out with the gold showing. I don't know. Anyway, but see the teal on here? That was the teal one, the weathered wood. No, weathered copper. And then this is a real light layer of the rose gold one. It's hard to catch the shimmer in that one. It's really light. But it says you can go over them with layers. But I was just anxious to test them, and I just threw this is a piece of Tomoe River paper that I just threw them on there. And then I did some scripting on the jelly plate, Carrie, that you were talking about. And I used that, I don't have it out here right now, the Sumi ink that's got the gold in it with the little mixing ball when you shake it. And it was still wet, but it smashed. But see how the gold came out of that Sumi ink over there? That was kind of interesting. So I just didn't have the heart to throw it away. And this is that real fine tissue that, again, Robin talks about jelly printing on. And I got the same exact package she got from the dollar store. But, man, this stuff is, ooh, she's delicate. See here, these little boo-boos that have happened to me. But I found my old Crackle roller a couple weeks ago. And I left it out here. And I've been crackling the hell out of everything. So, and using this little piece of, what is that? Not cross stitch, needlepoint canvas that I had. And I just cut it in a circle many moons ago when I first got into jelly printing. So you can see, if you look close enough, the crackles, and you see the little misty form of that needlepoint. Wait a minute, where is it? Thing in there. So I'm just making some real thin layers, and I keep putting gold leaf on my jelly plate so it keeps picking up those little bits. See those little bits scattered in there? Oh, that's a real clear copy. That's cool. Focus, I mean. Those little tiny bits of the gold leaf are in there, which I like it. And this was, I started to use this somewhere, and then I thought, nah. And this was a cleanup print. That's that stamp again. But I was trying to do a reverse patina print, I think, on my jelly plate was where I got just those letters like that, trying to clean out the holes on my pictograph stencil. And there's crackle on there. I'm telling you, I'm crackling everything. This is a piece of that brown, the roll of the painter's masking paper. Say that 3 times fast. I'm surprised I got it out without tripping over it. And there's a lot of layers on here. I don't even know what the hell I did anymore. But I discovered something really cool. And I'll try to describe it to you. But this, I think I started out too dark with this one. But anyway, it's still okay. But there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of shine. You can see the pictographs in there. Well, this light whitish color is actually my rose gold watercolor. And where I did scripting on the jelly plate. Now, how I did that was by mistake. Let me get down here. How can I show you that? Where was it? No, that's the good one. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So I scripted on another piece of the green paper. And remember I showed you in my journal where I found out that it was rubbing off a little bit? Well, I did another one because I had me an idea flashed in my head. So I did this, and see how pale it is? It's like that for a reason. Because I knew it would pull off, I thought I'm going to take this and put this on my jelly plate and rub it and pick it up and see if it leaves an impression of the rose gold on the jelly plate, because it's kind of like dry pigment on there. It did. So that's what I picked up on here with one of my layers with a thin layer of paint. All those little marks. It's a couple layers because I did it twice and they're overlapped and it's just kind of sketchy. It's not a clean print of what I scripted. But it worked. So I did it again and again until I got to the point where, see how faint some of those are, where it's just almost all pulled off of there. Hardly any shimmer. That's because the shimmer is elsewhere. But this is the one. You can see the difference in the color of the green. This is the one that I did and sprayed it with Kmart varnish so that it was fixed. Yeah, this one won't come off. That one's on there good. So that will work. But when you don't fix it, you can put it on your jelly plate and get prints off of it. I know, I was in total mad scientist mode the other night. This is another piece of that tissue. Just some random layer. I think this is that pewter color. It's got some crackles in there. You see the gold leaf foil. Leaf. I said it right. Well, yeah. Gold leaf in there. Picked up off my plate. Some little bronze circles. And then more of the needlepoint stuff. But this, I just plan on using little bits and pieces of this stuff in a collage here or there. Oh, yeah, Carrie, you have to try that. So this is a remaining piece of one of the first times I tried scripting. And it was on, this is rice paper. And it was with the gold sumi ink that I got on Amazon. And that was the background for one of those collages. But it's really shiny ink. Very yellow gold. But it's very shiny. And then this was, you saw one row of these in one of the collages, right, that I did the pictographs. And I think this was one of these metallic browns I started with. And on this gold, I had this old tissue. Somebody sent this to me. I don't know who, remember who. But it was too opaque, I think, and it covered up most of the gold through there. You can see it every once in a while in a little area, but it's not that apparent. But the print still came out kind of cool, so I'm going to be using that. And then I had this pad of graph paper, and I wanted to crackle something. I don't know what the hell I was crackling, but I put bronze, the Golden's bronze paint on the jelly plate, and I was using it as a stamp, but I would roll the crackle wheel on it to lift paint, and then take the paint and roll it, for instance, on here to transfer just the crackle design. So I was doing that, and then it was the paint was getting splat. You can see how. So this is the cleanup print. This paint is the cleanup print from all the remaining bronze that was on there with the crackle. But I thought it looked kind of cool. So I was just messing around. This is Sumi ink where I scripted on here. And this is both of the stamps that I made. So you can kind of see what they look like. I'm not that great of a stamp carver, but they're, you know, you get the idea. I wouldn't say I'm not happy with them. This is another piece of that, and I thought, wonder if this just had like a strip of gold, this gold paper and circles on there. So I did it using, what the hell, where's that ink? Hang on. This VersaFine Clair ink that's supposed to give you really fine, crisp prints for real fine, small images. But I mean, it's not a small image, but I had it out here, so I used it, and it stayed wet for a while. And don't you know, the next day I came down and it was still wet. So I don't know if it was just the ink or it had to be a combination of the paper because I've used it before and it wasn't that bad. It does take a little bit to dry. But I ended up, seeing the bottom of this, see all these circles? I took this the next day and was going like this to pat it off. And that's what all those imprints are on my cleanup paper. But you can see where it kind of soaked through the paper. See those blobs on the back? So I don't know about that one. But it's on there now. Oh no, look at that. Oh, I stand corrected. Black finger and smudged on there. So I'll have to do more experiments with that ink. That's not good. Of course, I'm using a glue stick, so it's not like I'm using matte medium and getting everything all wet again. Did you guys go really quiet, or did we lock up here on chat? Somebody talk to me. Just say, I love you, Patty. Or piss off, Patty. One or the other. Just something, so I know that you're still hearing me. Or have I bored you all to tears? Wake up! Hello. There, see, thank you. Thanks, Amalia. Okay. I just want to make sure. You never know what's happening out there. This is that piece I showed you earlier. This was a piece of music paper. And I started out a little too heavy-handed on one of the Martha Stewart rose gold colors. And I don't know, it was just a little bit too much. And then I thought, what am I going to put on there? And then I thought, I'm just going to script on it. But see how it kind of beat it up? Some of the inks resisted and kind of beat it up. I mean, it's a different kind of look, I guess, but not my faves, but I have them, so there they are. This was another graph paper where I cleaned up some of the bronze paint with see the flecks of the leaf in there, and I just stamped it with that same ink. Now, let's see on this paper. Look at that. It's staying. It's that damn tissue. Thanks, guys. Interesting. Even though it still came through here. Very interesting. And here was just another piece of graph paper I was rolling off the crackle roller onto to see if I got any interesting bits out of that. And this went kind of wrong. It was too, I don't know, it's too much. Not enough contrast, too much shine. I got to put something over here. We'll call this one not done yet. CB, did you sneak in here? You did. How's the wrist? I was thinking about you the other day. So, I mean, it's very shiny. There's some PBOs in there. I was trying to, actually remember that one I showed you with the blue and green pictographs printed on that little piece? This is the one where I was trying to clean the holes out to do a reverse patina print with a darker color. See where those pictographs are darker? That came out of there. It's all coming back to me now. It takes me a little while, but eventually it filters back in. This, I wasn't wild about this one either. It's like, I don't know if it's on this green paper, that blue gets really, like more of a royal blue than a teal, or I don't know. It's okay. There's very faint markings of pictographs in there. Yeah, it's all right. This became all kind of stuff. I picked up all kind of crap and rolled off. And I was actually putting this on the plate with the rose gold on it and picking that up too. So that's real faint. It was just thrown in here for some reason. I think that one can go in the can. This one, I did scripting on the jelly plate. Put a thin layer of paint, translucent paint. Penny, would you ever get a bigger jelly plate? Does it only 12 by 12 or something larger? I think I have all of them. Oh, yeah. I just haven't pulled it out for a while. But yeah, she uses the big one for some things. It's 12 by 14. I have one. I actually had two. I got a second one because I took the first one, and when I was jelly printing like a fool, you can see a cast below your elbow. Oh, I guess that's a good step. One step further. You can see on 8.5 by 11 paper, when you use the 8 by 10 plate, you get all this white border, right? And I was doing something back then. I don't know how many years ago that was when they first came out. And they first came out with the big one. And I thought, why don't they make an 8.5 by 11? And hey, Susan, that question haunted me for a while. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to make an 8.5 by 11. So I took a 12 by 14 and I cut an 8.5 by 11 out of it. This is the Jelly Arts plate. Let me tell you something. That sucker is very difficult to cut. Very difficult. It didn't come out with a smooth cut. I had little raggedy edges on it. But then I saw the error of my ways, because when I would do prints, even though the paper fit on there perfectly, when you push on the print, little paint squidges out everywhere. So it's like I would need a sandblaster to get the paint off of me. It was sloppy. I had paint on everything, but it covered edge to edge on my papers. So I don't know, was I winning or not? But then I took the rest of the plate. I think, Jean, did you do that too? Was it you that figured out how to cut yours and get all different kind of plates out of that leftover when you did 8.5 by 11? That's popping into my head for some reason. I don't know. Somebody. But yeah, so then I thought, I went to do fabric again. I thought, daggone it, I wish I had my big plate back. So then I got another one. You cut your 8 by 10 down to smaller ones. Okay, I knew it was something. At least I got part of that right. But this, I painted a real sheer thin layer of something white. I forget what it was. Might have been this Aqua Flash color shift on the plate, and let it dry. And then I went with the brush and got my rose gold watercolor and scripted over that. And then I picked it up. So you can see the pictographs are a little more evident there. Some areas work better than others. It's a little shadow, but you can see it. And here's that stamp with gold ink on it. I don't know why I put it there. I just wanted to test out the stamp. And bigger hunks of the leaf in there. And I think I went back and picked it up with some rose gold, I think, paint. And this one, this is a piece of onion skin. And this was just some layers of the translucent paints. And I don't know, it doesn't wow. It's okay. It's not wowing me for some reason. I like to be wowed. But I like those wrinkles, how the wrinkles get in there, like some of the deli does. I see I like it better at that angle. Oh, thanks, CB. I'm not sure which one you were looking at, but it was, I've done 4 recently. I'll show you real quick. And here's another one where I used that rose gold and the green paper and transferred it to the jelly plate and then came back and picked it up. You can see them up there through the top. There's my stamp. Shut up, Gayla. I know what you're all thinking, and it was very random. Was not done on purpose. Here, I'll show you real quick, CB. This is the first one that I did in that kind of style. I love this one. That's now my background on my phone. And then I did this one. And this one. Oh, look at those concentric circles. Got a little 3D wackadoodle like on that collage I was doing for ATCs. They went a little crazy there for a minute. Did that one. Then that one. Got to move them to see the shiny bits. And that's the most recent one I did. All right, what is the green paper? I will show you what that green paper is. I always like black and white. Patty, that stamp you made is making me blush. I know. Ask Gayla. It was very random. It's just how I had a rectangular piece that was squared off, but it was too much and too stark. And I thought I'd cut it around the shape of the writing. And there you have it. I don't know. Like a magnet. This is that paper. Who just asked me about that? It's pretty thin. It's painter's masking paper, where they would take it to tape it down and mask off areas to keep it free of new paint going down. And you get them at Home Depot or Lowe's in the US. I don't know about overseas. I got this one, and I got this. Whoop, this one's a foot. This one's 9 inches. And this one's kind of got a smoother, almost like a waxy feel on the inside. And then it's more like craft paper on the outside. But they make really cool prints. This one's perfect for the jelly plate. I just pull some out and rip it off. And this one, I go the other direction with it because of the size. But this one was like $3.25 or something. And I think this one was around $5. But there's a lot of paper on there. Hey, Gail. Welcome. I think, is that a new name? The gallery? Oh, you got some dot. Okay, good. Oh, nice. Sharing it with Joan. Did you see her haul from the craft show the other that she put on Facebook? She's a machine, I'm telling you. Let me pull out a couple other papers I'll show you. Oh, God. Now that everybody's here, I don't want to cut you off. So I've been copying some of my painted papers and some of my scripting that I did and some handmade papers onto tracing paper and onion skin, running it through my printer so I can reuse the image. That's another thing that Robin got me interested in. So here's that piece that was that turquoise coppery stuff, the acid wash that patina's things on that heavy paper, that the toner was low and it came out purple and turquoise. What do you know? What a happy accident. This was a jelly print that's on onion skin. Of course, the metallics don't show as shiny, but they do in some spots appear like they're metallic. And that was just layers of a jelly print. I was over at Queen's Ink the other day, and they had these individual pieces of paper, this design and this design, selling individual sheets. So I copied them, but I like the script on here. And this is on onion skin on that stuff I found on eBay. I love to hear that paper. I don't know what it is. This just came out on copy paper, but this is another one of those patina, acid wash patina images. And here's what the image looked like that came out purple. That's kind of what it should have been. And this, I just copied the rose gold. And it's interesting how this metallic rose gold copies, or any metallics, but this still looks metallic on here, but you can see a lot more of like a rosy color, and it never looks like that for real life. It never looks that pink. But see how it came out in the copy, where it just the shadows and all from the crinklage of the paper, I guess. And this, I really like this. I was just messing around one day and I took a, let me grab it. I took that gigantic brush and a piece of this cheap tissue, and I just made a big sloppy circle around it. I thought, okay, well, there's a big sloppy circle. So then I scripted on it. I thought, I'll just do that. And then I thought, well, I better throw something bronze in there to shine it up a little bit. But I love that piece of paper. So I copied it. It doesn't look, you lose the shiny. But I could go over that with another imprint if I wanted to. But I was basically experimenting, trying to learn my printer. See what it can and can't do. And this is, we can see the image on here. This is that rosin paper I was telling you about. That color is the color of the paper. And that's just more of those. That's on onion skin. This was that one jelly print that I did that I really liked. And I copied that off on, this is tracing paper, but it came out, well, this is colored like the original. I got another one in here. The color came out really different. This is a photocopy of a scrapbook paper, but that paper in person looks really pretty. It's got a lot of like blue in it. This was a copy of a jelly print on tracing paper that didn't come out great. I mean, it looks okay, but I had a piece where it came out on onion skin in here. Somewhere here. And I didn't have the onion skin or the tracing paper. I didn't have it in the tray. Hey, Lorena. That's a new name, I think. Welcome. I'm just kind of doing a show and tell tonight, testing out my new computer and Wi-Fi upgrade. See if I have the same issues. But this came out on regular bond paper that was in the tray, and it's much more vivid. And you can almost see the metallics in there, which you can't. But that print was, see all those crusty bits? How real that looks, like a jelly print? And that's a photocopy on just the bond paper. And that's the same print on onion skin. So this was, I was trying to test the printer when I set it up, and I had this image in my photos and just printed it, but it didn't print on the full sheet, as you can see. But that I have this canvas upstairs on my wall where I did all these different layers. And that was actually, this image was my skin on my old MacBook was this design right in here. Are you doing a thin glaze on those to perk them up? I may perk some up. Some need some perking for sure. But see, here's that same one. Where the hell did it go? Hang on. This is the same print. One I did from a photocopy. No, I took a picture of the original print, and out of my iPhotos, I sent it to the printer, and it came out darker. Right? I don't know if you can tell if it's even the same print, but it is. And here's the one where I laid the print on the glass. And this one you can really see. Well, wait a minute. Hang on. That's not right. This is the jelly print. I was going to say, you can even see the metallics. Damn, that's a good copy. That was the jelly print. That's the original. And this is when I put it on the glass. It's a lot closer to those colors. And this is, I took a picture of this, and this is the picture I sent from my iPhone to test the wireless thing in the printer, but the color's really different. And this, I tried to, if you guys remember, when I first started playing around with this stuff, I took some Payne's Gray acid wash. Yeah, I'll explain that in a second. Oh, good. Glad to have you back, Lorena. I'll remind me to explain that stuff, Amalia. Can you tell your printer to print in vivid color or high resolution? Printer, print in vivid color or high resolution. Yes, I can do that. I know I'm a smart ass, CB. You know what? I can't answer that correctly because I haven't had time to dive that far into the settings. I do. I'll have to look at that because wouldn't that be handy? But this was a picture of that Tomoe River paper with the Payne's Gray watercolor with the gold scripting on it. This didn't come out very good at all. And this was a copy of the rice paper that I did with the gold Sumi ink, the black ink that has the gold pop through it on rice paper. That actually came out pretty good. Look at, you can see how that looks with the black around the edges. And that's that rice paper original printed on tracing paper. And this is the same print printed on Tomoe River paper. And it came out pretty well too. And this was the white rice paper with the gold ink, and that not so much. Actually, this, as you can see, sucked in 2 pieces and didn't come out very good. But see the shading in the print? Well, there it actually looks more metallic than it does in person. That's okay. And this is a piece of handmade paper. I can't find this. If anybody, what brand of printer? Print draft, normal, or fine. It's an HP. Hang on. HP Envy Photo 7855. And I got it on sale. It was $229, and I got it on sale when they had $100 off a couple weeks ago. I did, Gayla. Oh my gosh, I love those. As a matter of fact, on her Patreon, she had a download file on there, and look what I sent wirelessly to my printer, the Passbook Kimono. So that's going to find its way in my stash and print it on other stuff too. Good night, Sheridan. Thanks for stopping in. But I can't find this paper anywhere, and I have just a little tiny piece of it. So I copied some of that on tracing paper. I did 2 of those. And then that other paper that I love, I copied it on, this is on tissue. No, tracing paper. Right, you can see all the little fibers that it picked up in there in the copy. But I love this paper. This is where I didn't get the paper in on time and it printed on bond, but it's still good. But either one of those I can't find. And here's that handmade paper that I printed on. I'll show you the originals of those. And this was a handmade paper. This came out on bond because, I didn't get the paper in time. And this is on tracing paper. This one didn't come out very good. This is the other one. I would love to find this paper again. If anybody knows, I would love to know where to buy the real paper. And this, I was just trying to print like copies of like a watercolor that I had done before. And on this bond paper, it actually looks pretty good. Those bluey gray bits, they were Pacific Lagoon watercolor by Creamer that I make. And they actually look a little shiny in there, the blue bits. And that's just on bond paper. And then here it is on the tracing paper, and it's just kind of like, kind of there. And this is a piece of the mulberry paper, the blue and the turquoise and purple and with copper on it. And this is a piece of white with gold that I went print crazy. This is a piece of paper. Gayla, you got some of this at Dick Blick. I know you did because I handed it to you. Where I took some copies of those to use and still hold on to the original piece. And this was a download that Robin gave us in her Patreon page of some kind of Japanese accounting book, an old vintage one that has all this little script and cool columns and tabs and stuff. And then these are just some random images that I found online that I printed. I love this one. And Zandra gave me this piece of paper with this on it. I don't know if that was a stencil or a stamp or what that was. But I copied that because I liked it. And these were just other images. This is one of the scripting jelly prints that I did on the plate that I picked up, but that's okay. And this paper too. This was a big sheet minus the bronze paint. This was a big sheet. It says alphabet. I think that says Japan on here. It was a big sheet of handmade paper. I probably got it at the Dick Blick or Queen's Ink, but I can't find it anymore. But it was really cool paper. And this is a copy of that piece of Yupo that I did with the little gold quill pens that you use the foil with, and did kind of scripting and then put watercolor over it. And here's where I scripted in Sumi ink, and the watercolor just made it all go into a wash. And that was just, I filled it in with some scripting down there. So that's all that stuff is. But let me show you a couple of these real papers. Oh, acid wash. They're in my fake, so I'm going to show you, Amalia. I did these papers a few years ago. And this is what the paper looks like. I think it's called red rosin paper or something like that. Another hardware store item. And I used different products to turn it these different colors. But you can see this was my Iron Gate stencil. And I stenciled, I took some matte medium on a knife and raked it over the stencil and then let it dry. So I just got the texture. And then you paint these. Let me see where you can see the paint. Like here on this edge, you can see the copper paint that went down first. And you let that dry. And then you come back with the acids. And this one was called Tiffany Green. And then you just let it sit there, and it patinas and ages it like while you watch. And see, here's one of the ones you just saw a copy of. Right? That's one of those. But it's really a lot of texture. That's just a little hunk of something that came off of there. I just kept it because I could. Here I had some ink on here, and I just plopped that down there. But that's another one. And they all come out. It's hard to duplicate it. You can use the same stuff, but it depends on how thick the layer is, how quick it dries. All that kind of stuff. Here's another one. You can see the underlayer paint sticking out here. But they're very textural. And this is a different, this was my, I think, the cave etching stencil. And this is the one that causes it to rust. I forget the combination off the top of my head, but that one caused it to rust. And these were a little bit, here, I don't know what the hell I was doing here. So this is my tribal border stencil. And I did the same thing with matte medium. And then I painted it with some metallic paints. I think those are, I think you better go to bed too, Dot. Good night. Thanks for dropping in. They were very unpredictable. I think they're Vivid Ultra metallic paints, and then the rusted stuff on top of that. It's a weird combination. I was in one of my evil scientist moods, but I even kept the little bits like that, to throw in. I don't know why, but I did. This one I used my stripe stencils on that same kind of painted surface, and this is the Tribal River stencil, so you can see how I rusted all those. This one, I was thinking turquoise and like that orangey color would look cool. Not so much. It didn't. The brush strokes are showing. I don't know what the hell happened there, but that's kind of a hot mess. But didn't have the heart to throw it away either. Night, Jean. Oh, wait a minute. Jean, are you? Oh, no, Dot saying goodnight to Jean. Jean's not leaving us. Another piece of that. Another stripe deal. My basket weave stencil. See the turquoise that's under there and then the rust stuff over it? This one's kind of a hot mess too. That's a Tribal River stencil. Rusted. Tried it again. Would not give up on the pictographs with that, but not so much. And this was, I forget what this is called, but it's one of my curved line stencils. That's got some pretty cool parts in it. The colors are pretty cool when you see it kind of close up. Here I got a little more of the turquoise to show through bits of that. That's what I was trying to do. And then here's the tribal border stencil again, painted with the copper or brass paint. I forget which one. You can get copper, brass, bronze, and is it a stainless steel color? Stainless? No. What is it called? Iron. Iron. And the iron with a certain acid makes it rust. And then these other ones turn it like aged copper. But here you can see that I use clear matte medium. So you can see the color of the paper through those pieces of the stencil that were large enough. And then it resisted the stuff I put on top of it. But, I mean, it still looks kind of cool. But that's what they are. And they're called Swelligant. Yep, elegant with a SW in front of it. By Christy Friesen, Friesen, I think her name is. She's got different polymer clay products and tools and bits and stuff. But let me try to pull out a couple of these papers. It's funny, when I cleaned out my studio area down here and tried to get more organized, I found a couple little goodie bags that people sent me that I forgot I had, or forgot what safe place I put them in was. Oh, God forbid. Hang on. Here we go. I'm finding some of these now. I'm digging deep enough. I showed you all those last time I was on. Sorry, hang on. I am, I'll show you these real papers here that I want to try to look for. Okay, so here's that one I was trying to show you. That's the real paper, that one that I copied. It's much more vivid, and you can see the gold that's reflective in this. But I just love that. So I thought I'd take copies of it. And I mean, it copied, but it's not near as nice as that is. Mama like that. And I also got this. This is the original of that other paper that I showed you. It's very shiny. I got these from Mulberry Paper and More. And then this is a sheet. I got a big sheet of this. This is what I got at the Queen's Ink the other day. These I've had for years. Thought I had to have them, hardly ever used them, and then got away doing all kind of other stuff. But this is another piece of that paper. I said that I see that. Does anybody know where I can get this? Please let me know. No markings on the back. But I just love that ledger, kind of a columnar look to it with the numbers, and I like that. And here's what that one, I showed you a copy of it, but here's what the original looks like. It's shiny gold on like a real fibrous, neutral colored paper. Let's see if I can get that to focus, how shiny that is. I like it. And then here's that real piece of that other goodie that I showed you, but you can really see the fibers in here. I just love that. It's like a chocolate brown print. It's not black. I love it. I have no idea what it is. Somebody help me out. Yeah, that's a good idea, Amalia. And here's the real piece of that other green one. You can really see the fibers in there. And that blue chop stamp that's there. It's kind of cool. Yep. But somewhere in my travels, I snagged those, but Lord only knows. Anywho, well, I don't think there's anything else that thrilling to show you. I'm looking. I showed you those last time. Anyway, oh, what are these? These are their jelly prints. You guys, if you saw, yeah, these, you would have seen these if you watched my other mishaps. But here's another piece of that stuff. See there, that's where I punched out that hole to put in that first collage. That's that stuff. The alphabets. That's just scripting and stamping on top of a jelly print. Got all kind of stuff on it. And you guys saw these. We don't need to go through all this. I'm looking for something. This one, I love that one. Oh, look at that. Some of these were, oh my God, that's so cool. Some of those were, oh my God, what's that? That's that one I copied. The scripting in there kind of faintly when I was playing with that. Where the heck? Where are you? Maybe it's not in this pile. That didn't turn out. I jelly printed on that handmade paper, and it just sucked up the metallic color. That was a fail. Oh, don't you just love when you find that good stuff? Another piece of that. That went wrong. Here's a real piece of that paper, Gala. Oh, and look, I can tell you what that one is. Ancient text, black and white, 12 by 12. And that's that one. I got that at Dick Blick. Of course, without the jelly print mess over it. Here are the ones that Gala was bullying me into doing. What a stream! Using the black flash color shift. It's like a black paint with bronze mica in it, and pulling it quickly off the jelly plate after you spray it with water. And this one, I went back and I took some crackle paint of the bronze and rolled the crackle over it and tried to stencil through this really fine stencil. Didn't come out that great, but it's really cool in person. I really like that. And then these, you can really see how the bronze comes out of that black paint now that they've dried. These were still wet when I streamed. But that little piece, that little color shift craft paint is crazy. Here's one of the ones showing those like veinings and textures in it that Gala so gallantly led me through the trenches on. But look how that color flash. I mean, it's a bunch of them that you get a bunch of those prints when you do that technique. You have to go back a few videos ago and look at that. You can see reading the chat where Gala was harassing me, telling someone in Maryland to please come over and tell me to do it faster because I wasn't seeing her when she was typing. Oh, bless her heart. So anyway, I think I'm going to call it a night, kids. I am rather pooped. And I'm actually off a half a day tomorrow, going to a friend's retirement luncheon with Dave. So I'm so glad that this worked well. This was originally just going to be a test to test my new laptop. And just today we had our Verizon Wi-Fi upgraded. So I think it worked. I didn't see anybody complaining. Nobody had an issue with the pixelating or buffering. Everybody had a clear picture. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That was a journey getting there, let me tell you. But anyway, great. Thanks, Carrie Ann. Yeah, thanks, Peg. Gayla. Oh, thank you. No bar. Oh, great. Yeah, well, that was a pretty penny to fix it. But I mean, I needed a new laptop anyway. My other one was years old and starting to limp. I just didn't know how badly it was limping until now. Hey, Asher. Thanks, Kath. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Go upstairs with my husband and my puppies. Oh, I'll show you this real quick. Squirrel. I got this on Amazon for like $11. I've always wanted one of those ink stones. And it's just a case for it. You put your Japanese inks or the ink sticks on here. And I poured this Sumi ink on here Monday, maybe. And it's not a snug fit lid. You can hear it. It's loose, but it's still wet. Not the whole thing is wet, but it will re-wet really easily. I was kind of surprised that worked that well. And of course, I can't tell you anything because here's the box. If anybody can read that, have at it. I think it goes that way. I don't know why. Hell, I don't know. Could be that way. No, I think it's this way. I really do not know. But there you have it. All right. I will stream again soon, and I don't know when soon is. Not this weekend. Nope. My friend Gail and I are going to Ocean City for the weekend. So Dave will be here in charge of the pups. And so I won't be streaming again until next week at the earliest. Anyway, thanks for popping in, guys. I appreciate it. And have a good nighty night. Toodaloo.